Yeah, so Windows is very common around the world. Like the UI is very simple, and a person who's new to using laptops can easily get to know of it. Suppose millions of them.
So we have many versions of Windows here. So the latest version is, yes, it's Windows 10, right?
It started with MS DOS, which is actually not Windows. Like the base foundation for Windows was MS DOS. In the first version of Windows was Windows 1.0, then 2.0, then 3. Then came the Windows 2000, XP, Vista, Windows 7. Like some of the systems might be running Windows 7. Then Windows 8 and Windows 8.1. Now the most popular Windows, like majority of the laptops we have in the world is Windows 10. This is the latest version.
Yes, as if we call Android 2, Android 3, and Android 9, right? So it's like that. So Windows 10 is the latest one.
So this is the latest version. How Windows 10 looks like. So for installing Windows, like in the Virtualbox, we need a laptop. Like that is a need. Then Windows 10 installation image. So this is where the Windows operating system will be present, with which we'll extract it and install it in the system. An Oracle Virtualbox, which we told you prior, and any pen drive. We use the pen drive to write the operating system in the pen drive. Then we'll attach the pen drive to your system and install it.
Yes, next, like we will show
how to download the Windows ISO file, image file.
So we have to open up Google, and then we have to search for Windows 10 ISO download. Am I right? Right?
Yeah.
So we have to press enter, and you will have many links here. We would prefer the iTechtics link over here. You can read it out here. It is written iTechtics. It will be displayed as download Windows 10 ISO files, direct download links. So we have to press on that link, and we have to scroll down. When we scroll down, we have many versions.
Windows 10 actually has many versions, like 20H1, 20H2, like that. So you need to know which is the latest version. Like for the current generation, for the current time, 20H1 is the latest version.
Yes, and its size is around 5.4 GB, which is roughly 5,400 MB. So like it takes some time to download, but we already have it ready in our system. To download it, it's very simple. Like we have to click on the link, and we have to choose a folder, and then just click on save, and it will start downloading. For me, it's showing 6 minutes, but in most of the circumstances, it will be more than half an hour. So since we already have it on our system, we are going to use that file.
Yeah. So like we have the Virtualbox installed and the Windows installation image in our system. So we'll start with the installation of OS in the Virtualbox. So we need to open the Virtualbox. So like once the Virtualbox is installed, this is how the Virtualbox, when you open the software, it looks like. So we need to create a new like file to this one. Yeah, click new. So we are creating a new operating system, like a temporary system, a virtual machine. In the sense. So we'll keep a name like Windows for the system which we are going to create. We can create multiple systems in one software. So that is the advantage of using virtual machine. So we'll create and click next. Yeah. So the memory size, we usually recommend to have around 2 GB. That is like it always shows in MB. So we need to multiply 2. Like if you want 2 GB, we need to multiply 2 into 1024. That is 1 GB is 1024 MB. So we need 2 GB means 2 into 1024 is 2048. Okay, then click next. Memory size is the RAM size we are going to allocate. Like if our system has like around 8 GB or something like that, we are going to allocate 2 GB of the RAM for the virtual machine. So for hard disk, we are going to create a virtual hard disk. Click create. Then for hard disk type, like let it remain as it is, like Virtualbox disk image. Let it remain. Don't change anything. Yeah, click next. For the storage and physical hard drive, we'll keep a dynamic like it will automatically define the size and have the size for the virtual machine. And file location. We need to select the how much where the files would be saved, temporary files. We'll have 50 GB. Like for now, like it depends on the user. Like it can range from 10 GB to 50 GB. We're gonna have some around 50 GB for the virtual this one. So when we open the virtual machine, we'll have 50 GB for the user, like in the operating system. We are allocating some of the space from our hard disk to the virtual machine. Click create. Yeah, so a temporary system has been created. Like we can see the process general name, like what the name we have given, system, base memory and all. Then display, what display we are going to give, storage, audio driver, network driver, USB, everything. So we'll click on start to start the system. So we need to select the ISO file. This is where the OS installation, it is asking for the OS file. So we need to browse for the OS file. Click add disk image, and we need to browse the Windows ISO file from which we have downloaded, like from where we have downloaded. So we have downloaded 20H2. So open and add the file. Now we have selected our Windows file to be installed in the virtual machine. Click start. Yeah, now it will be booting. So, like technically, when we install Windows in our system, this is how it will look like. Since most of the systems comes pre-installed with Windows, most of us don't know like how to like operate this one. Yeah. So language to install is United Kingdom. Like it is always in United Kingdom because Indian English is is a part of United Kingdom English. The time and currency, we need to select English India. Yeah, so English India. So automatically the keyboard and input method will change because our keyboard type and other countries' keyboard type changes, like the key buttons and all changes. So it is mandatory that it should be a key English India for an Indian laptop. Yeah. So click next. Now we are going to start the installation. Install now. Yeah. Windows, as we said, is a proprietary software, so it lasts for a product key. For now, we don't have a product key. We are just installing it. So we'll click. I don't have a product key. Yeah. Now Windows has various versions like Windows 10 Home, Windows 10 Pro, Windows 10 Education. It depends on the user. Like Windows 10, most of the laptops that we get now comes with pre-installed Windows 10 Home. Windows 10 Professional gives a bit more features to edit the registries and all. Like it is a bit complicated. Thing. You can mess up with the operating system. So Windows 10 Pro allows the user to do it. Yeah. Click next. We are going to install Windows 10 Home. We need to accept the license terms. Next. Yeah. So we need to we can upgrade or install custom install. Upgrade means like we already have a Windows 7 version or Windows 8 version. If you click upgrade, the Windows 7 or 8 version will be upgraded to the Windows 10 version, the latest version which I want to install. Now custom, like since we are installing from the scratch, we need to go to custom. Click custom. Yeah. So in the starting, like while creating a virtual machine, we gave 50 GB allocation for the virtual machine. So unallocated, showing that drive has 50 GB space. So we'll click that, and we'll click on new to create a new drive. Yes, right. Yeah, click apply. Yeah. So always we need.
Yeah, I'm audible, right?
Yeah, now you're audible. Yeah. So 30 MB would be allocated to system. Like it is like for when a system starts, it needs 30 MB for like doing a background process. So we'll give a 30 MB for background process. This one. Then we'll install Windows in partition 2. Click next. So like it will take some time to install Windows. Like it will take around 10 minutes or something like that. So I'll call on my friend Girish Kumar, who will engage you with some facts about Windows. Meanwhile, the Windows installation is going on. Girish?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. Hello guys. Meanwhile, the installation is complete. Let me tell the facts about Windows. Next slide, guys. Bill Gates wanted to call Windows as interface manager. When he released Windows version 1.1, he want to call the Windows as an interface manager. It was his first idea. Want to call upon Windows. Next slide. Everybody know Vista 1, 2, 3 and NT. There are 3 unreleased versions of Windows that are Windows Nashville, Windows Cairo, Windows Neptune. Next slide, sir. The most successful Windows version was Windows XP because Windows XP has been used in many offices for many purposes. So that Windows XP is the most successful Windows version. Next slide, sir. Last Windows which was OS based was MS-DOS. After MS-DOS, the Windows versions which are released as 1.0 and all. Windows 98 was the first version designed specifically for consumers. That was MS-DOS. Right. Windows, we all know the start menu in the taskbar. The start menu was designed in Windows 95, which Windows 95 after Windows 3.1, which is the predecessor. We all know now we have apps like calculator, games, and so much apps. The Windows 1.0 apps are Paint, calculator, card file, notepad, word processor, which also now have it. Now the Windows 10 size is around 50 GB and all, but Windows 1.0 is less than 1 MB in size. NT was the first pure 32-bit version of Windows. After NT, we can have Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, which are 64-bit. Right. These are the Windows versions which are released. MS-DOS, Windows 1.0 to 2.0, Windows 3.0, then Windows 95, Windows NT, Windows 98. After Windows 98, we all can see Windows 2000, Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7. Windows 11 was the predecessor of 10, which is now developing. Right. We all know Apple Siri and Google's Google Assistant. Like that, Cortana is a Microsoft Assistant which was developed in 2015, and Microsoft Edge was the web browser which was developed by Microsoft for its for the Windows. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Girish, for
Still, it's at 72%, right?
Yeah. So we'll engage you by saying you some tricks like keyboard shortcuts in Windows. So Sai, can you open the normal?
Yes, Adu.
Yeah.
Adu, do you want the shortcut file to be open?
No. Just minimize this one Virtualbox. We'll show the shortcut keys.
Yes, okay.
So we generally use mouse to do everything. So Windows has many shortcut keys to open to do certain to do certain things. So Windows X, Windows key, in our keyboard we have Windows key and X key. So if you press both of them, it will open a power menu. So Sai, can you click on it?
Yes. Actually, I guess while we are sharing our screen, we cannot open it.
Okay, fine. So yeah, when we press Alt F4, we get a power menu, right? Like that, similar to that, we'll get a power menu when we press Windows and X. So next is run command. We try to open command prompt and all in Windows. So easy way to open run command is Windows plus R. Windows key in the keyboard and R button.
Actually, Windows key is not working while sharing our screen. So we would show how to open run command from the start menu itself. So we can go to the start menu and type run. So we will get run command here. So after we get into the virtual machine, I think the shortcuts might work there.
Okay, fine. So I guess we might show them to them in the virtual machine. So, okay,
yes. And instead of Windows X, we don't like to use our keyboard means, we can go to the start button here and we can right click on it. This is the same menu that we would get when we press Windows key and X together. So,
and Windows 10 has a certain feature of using we can separate Windows and Windows. So if we press Windows and tab, right, that's it. Okay. Once again, Sai is facing some issues. He'll join the meeting.
Hello, can you get me now? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Windows key is working now. So as Art said, when we have to open the power user menu, you have to press Windows and X. So this opens the power user menu.
Yeah.
And yes, the run command, right?
Windows plus R. Windows key and R.
Yes, I'm using Windows key and R.
So it opens the run command. And if you press, when you have some screens open in the window, this one, so immediately when you want to check the desktop, you need to press Windows and D button. So immediately it will show your desktop, like if you want to open some files. Then next is Windows plus L. It will lock your screen immediately. You need not go to power settings and lock your screen. If you press Windows plus L, you lock your screen.
And then we have to unlock, means we have to enter our password again, and then we will get inside. Was the lock screen visible on it?
No. Screen sharing is off.
Okay, fine. So that's what. If we lock our screen sharing will stop. The screen visible now?
Yeah. And the most unknown trick, like people don't know is like how to access your taskbar. Like you have in a taskbar, you have many applications like he has Edge, Chrome, Firefox, File Manager. Like, can you show them, right? Like,
Yes.
The taskbar.
Yes, this is the taskbar, and we have icons
That's
here.
the taskbar. So, like when you want to access the taskbar software, like this one, applications, without clicking on it, press Windows and you like
Any number, like denoting the app icon.
yeah.
So this is Edge means this is one. This is the first icon. We should not count these icons. It starts from this. So this is the first, second,
The numbers
third.
will count from 1 to like whatever he has, like 1 for Edge, 2 for Chrome, 3 for Firefox, 4 for File Manager, like that. So if you press Windows N1 in the numpad.
So yes, we will open Microsoft Edge. I think it's opening. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you press Windows plus 3 or 4, it will open File Manager. So without clicking the taskbar icons, like he can immediately open this one. Yeah. So now we'll continue with our VirtualBox like installation.
Yes. So like the installation is partially complete, but we have to like eject our CD first so that we can boot into the system. So to eject the CD, we have to go to the devices menu, optical drives, and remove disk from virtual drive. So when we click this, it's like we are removing the CD from the drive. It's like removing the DVD from a DVD player. So I'm clicking on this. Okay.
Actually, what it happens is like when we insert a pen drive that contains the operating system or Windows 10 operating system, when we boot a system, always Windows like laptop, what it does is it always checks for installation file in a pen drive, external pen drive. Then only it checks the hard disk. So whenever a pen drive is connected with the OS installed in it, it will always boot from the pen drive rather than installing from the rather than opening from the hard disk which you have already dedicated. So we need to remove once the installation is complete. That is why I removed the installation disk separately.
Yes, then we have to restart the machine, right? Probably what we will do for restarting a machine, we will either power it off or like flick the switch like that, right? So we have a restart button here. So when we press restart button here, the PC will restart.
The virtual machine will automatically restart.
So now this is the version of Windows we are looking.
The Windows 10 from the hard disk, which we have a virtual hard disk, which we have specified, is getting good.
So probably it should get its device ready. It will take, I think it will take another 5 minutes later.
Yeah. Always when we install an OS, like the first boot will be the longest boot machine takes. Like when we get a new laptop, when we like flick it on for the first time, it will take usually more time than your normal day-to-day usage. Because like it will check for the files that has been installed. Then like you need to enter the data, so it will check and validate all the files.
Yes, actually this takes like one time. Well, this is a one-time process. This won't happen again. It's like that.
Like when installing like a fresh Windows, our system will restart multiple times. That is usual. Like we need not worry. Like, it is not a. It will install the updates and that will reset multiple times.
Yeah, now Windows has booted. So here we need to do the initial setup. Like we have to connect to Wi-Fi and we have to connect to connect to the internet. Create user accounts.
We'll create a user account for the usual stuff that we do when we get a new laptop. Yeah, so this is the welcome screen when a Windows boots.
And can you hear the audio from Cortana, right? No, right?
No.
Okay.
So the voice assistant will like start speaking to you like to help you. If you don't want Cortana to assist you, you can press second button here. If you click that, Cortana will stop like helping you around, like, and you can install with your. Yeah, so the region, like while installation starting in the starting, we gave India, right? So we need to again give India. And the keyboard layout, it is English India. Like if you want to add secondary keyboard layout, you can add, but for now we do not need it, so we'll skip it.
Secondary keyboard layout is like some people will do DTP, like Tamil keyboard. Some people might know Tamil, some people might know Hindi, right? So for them, secondary keyboard layout might be helpful, but for now we will skip it.
since his computer is already connected to a network, the virtual machine will automatically take that network into the virtual machine, and the net would be connected.
Yeah, in case of laptop, we need to connect to a Wi-Fi network or a.
So ask for a Wi-Fi password and so we're gonna create a new user account. So yeah, like this is a Microsoft account.
Yes, we have to sign in with some Gmail account or phone number. We don't need, but you think you don't need an online account means the first task we have to do is disconnect from the network. But unfortunately, for us to disconnect from the network, I think it's not possible right now. Here once again. So if we don't want to enter an email ID, we have to disconnect from the internet first. I'm disconnecting this virtual machine from the internet, and then I will give some email ID first. Let's see whether it's detecting it. Okay, fine. So this is what. So we have bypassed that email ID login. So now we can type any name we want. Like I'll type online issue.
Like we can give a password if you want. If you don't want a password, like click next as it is. So this is privacy settings for your device. We recommend you to turn off all the things like online speech recognition, find my device. Like if you want, you can turn on find my device, location, diagnostic data, ink and typing. Like what it does is like some of the data would be sent to Microsoft for analysis. So like they're asking permission for that. So it is better to turn off. It depends on the user. Like if you want to send your data, like, some of the for analysis you can send it. Then it will ask for Cortana to get your things done. Like we don't want Cortana for now, so we'll give not now. Yeah, so this is like it will check for all the files in Windows, like whether it is working right or not. It will take some time. So yeah.
So like it will take only nearly 2 minutes to 5 minutes since we have the internet disconnected from the VM.
Yes,
Yes, 1 minute.
Thank you all. Thank you for passing on the knowledge and ideas you possess and made it super interesting to all of us.
Yeah.
I would like to thank all the participants for joining us in this session and giving us your utmost cooperation. I hope that all.
Yeah, screen, share the screen.
Yeah.
Vaishnavi? Yama. Sai, you can just go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is
After
the
the loading
setup
screen
now?
is done, like we'll have Windows like this. So we have successfully installed Windows operating system in virtual machine. We'll go for the Linux version, Linux OS in virtual machine.
Yes. So this is how like Windows looks like after freshly being installed. So like we will now get to install Linux operating system in the same virtual machine. So we'll shut down this one.
So it is the same process like how we created a virtual machine for Windows. We need to create the same virtual machine for Linux operating system.
So like it's Linux installation is also very similar to Windows. But some steps might be confusing while installing Linux because the keywords that are given in Linux might be a little bit hard to understand. So we'll see what is Linux first in brief. So why we are going for Linux? So the main reason is Linux is open source. So why Linux is open source means they have made it they made their source code like the coding of the Linux available to everyone. So you know how much Windows license costs per computer? It's like 10,000 rupees to 25,000 rupees per computer. So when we are buying a laptop, let it be Dell or HP. So when we are buying it in our store, we get a laptop for 35,000 or 40,000 with Windows included means Windows costs around alone it's like 7,000 to 8,000 rupees when we buy a laptop. So what if we buy a laptop without Windows? So like we can cut off some cost, right? So that is why Linux is there. So the open source software. So Linux belongs to open source software. So open source software is free to use. We can modify it and we can redistribute the software. We can make our own Linux. Also, we have some technical knowledge and we can distribute. And to download Linux or to use Linux, as we said before, there is no cost involved. So like in Windows, we can modify the software only up to some extent. Like we can change the wallpaper, we can change the icons to somewhat, and we can change the lock screen wallpaper like that. But in Linux, we can change the whole environment. So we can design
the whole UI.
Yes.
You can program the UI as per your requirement and like use it however you want.
Yes, and for Windows, Windows belongs to Microsoft, right? So if we want any help means we have to seek help and support from Microsoft itself. But for Linux, there is no company. So Linux is like multiple people gathering to develop a software. So if we want help regarding Linux means we can just Google them. We can get it online on some forum.
There is a large Linux community online. There are millions of users who come forward to help you, and it is a global community. The kind of community. Yeah.
Yes. Now we look at Linux. So this is the official logo of Linux. This is a penguin, and it's called Tux. Its name is Tux Tux. So who wrote Linux? Who created Linux? So the creator of Linux is called Linus Torvalds. So he is Linus Torvalds, and he's a Finnish software developer from Finland. And he wrote Linux. He developed Linux in 1991, right after Minix came in 1987. So we would not known about it because we just started to use computers in India 2000s only, right? So Linux came in 1991 itself, like Python came in 1980s. So why Linux? So as we said before, it is an open source software, so entirely free of cost. And the main part is Linux is significantly powerful than Windows. Like we can notice sometimes Windows, like the cursor will be spinning and we have to wait for something to happen. For example, if we open Google Chrome, we have to wait a long time, and if we have to transfer files, means we have to wait a lot of time. Right? So Linux is better in this. Linux takes less time and completes more work for us.
Linux uses less RAM like compared to Windows. Like Windows uses, like for example, Windows nowadays all Windows laptops requires minimum of 6 GB or 8 GB of RAM. Like Linux can run in 2 GB or 4 GB of RAM. Like it will be the same speed.
Yes.
Windows running in 8 GB of RAM and Linux running in 2 GB or 3 GB of RAM.
Yes, Windows requires at least a mid-end or a high-end hardware. We have to have Core i5 processor and we have to have 8 GB of RAM like that. But Linux, it's not like that. We can even run Linux on the lowest end of process like Intel Celeron, let it be Core 2 over i3.
It is more power efficient than Windows.
Like if you get 2 hours usage time in Windows in a laptop, we can get 4 hours to 5 hours in Linux. So there are many varieties of Linux operating systems in the world.
Like Windows has like Windows version 1, Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, like that. Linux has varieties, like different versions. That is Ubuntu, Debian, Linux Mint, Fedora, CentOS. Everything is a different UI. Like it will not be similar to each other. Everything is different versions. Like different developers take the Linux base version, apply some their knowledge on it, and they create a new version. Like even you can create a new version out of Linux.
Yes, so we are going to discuss about some popular distributions of Linux operating system. So they are Ubuntu, Debian, Linux Mint, Fedora, CentOS, and Kali Linux. So we will see why they are used and what it looks like. Especially we should see about Kali Linux. It's a very famous operating system. So first we will start with Ubuntu. So Ubuntu is the most popular. So wherever we go talk about Linux, Ubuntu will be there. So Ubuntu is the most popular and user-friendly Linux distribution. Like even a kid who is around 12 to 13 years of age can use Ubuntu. It's so user-friendly and it's also powerful. So it is developed by a company called Canonical, and like we use Windows. Like Ubuntu has its own desktop environment. We call it desktop environment. It's nothing but how it looks like where the icons are placed and what it looks like. It's called desktop environment. So the desktop environment used in Ubuntu is called GNOME. The logo GNOME is here.
Yeah, now we'll see how to install Ubuntu in Virtualbox.
Yes.
Yeah, so we need to create a separate virtual machine for Linux, for installing Linux.
Name it Ubuntu, of course. The special feature of VirtualBox is whenever we type an operating system name, the configuration is auto-populated for itself. For example, when we type Windows, see Windows 7 is coming. So if we take Windows 8, see Windows 8.1 is coming. Windows 8.1, Windows 8.1 is coming. So we can also install Mac OS. Like Mac is the operating system of Apple, right? So any operating system can be installed in VirtualBox. So for now, we are going to type Ubuntu and see what is coming. So it's detecting it as Linux, and it is 64-bit. So I'm going to click next. So the recommended memory size is 1024 MB. As Arun said before, the RAM memory is called memory size here. So the RAM memory that is required for Linux operating system, that to 64-bit is 1 GB only. See how memory efficient is Linux. So like Windows took 2 GB. So this is going to take only 1 GB. And the recommended size of the hard disk is only 10 GB. So do you remember what Windows took? Windows took 50 GB of hard disk. So it's very user-friendly and it is very powerful with a small amount of size. So we are going to click create. Let the settings be as it is, we don't modify it. So we click on next. Let it be dynamically allocated. Dynamically allocated is nothing but like when we are putting inside the files inside the hard disk, it will expand automatically. It's like a rubber band or something. It's back. So the location of the disk image is given here. So it's 10 GB. Okay, that's it. So we have created our new mission. Like it can be created in a minute. So we are starting it now. So like we browsed Windows installation image. We have an installation image for Ubuntu also. Like if you ask where should we find the installation image means, we can find it in Google itself. Like once again.
Like each Linux, we said each Linux has a different variety. So every variety has a different web page for itself. Like for Ubuntu, there is a Ubuntu website. For Fedora, there is a different website. For each website, for each version of Linux, like flavors of Linux, like there is a different website and different community for itself. Like you can see like community for Ubuntu, where you can, if you have a query, like you can ask it.
Yes. So to download Ubuntu, we should click on download, and the latest version is 21.04. But I would strongly recommend to download the version 20.04 because it is a long-term support release, which means we won't face any problems or bugs with it. I am clicking on 20.04 LTS. So the download should start automatically, so we can save it wherever we want. This is also will be large in size. This will be around 2.7 GB. They have the size of Windows, but still it will take some time, like half an hour to download. So since we already have it on our hard disk, we will browse that. So at the end of the session, we will share the links in the comment box. So I'm choosing a file. So then I have a Linux file stored in the hard disk. So I'm clicking on add. So as you can see, we have Windows, we have Ubuntu 21.04 here. So I'm clicking on it and click open. So we have Ubuntu here. So we click on Ubuntu and we click choose. So that's it. So we have chosen Ubuntu here. And to install it, we should click start. So we can see the Virtualbox booting up. So this is the boot menu of Ubuntu. We call it GNU Grub. Grub is nothing but it's a software. It's a small software which helps to get into a Linux operating system. Every Linux operating system will have Grub. Grub is it's technically called a bootloader for an operating system. So for Windows, the bootloader name is Windows. Or for Linux, the bootloader name is Grub. GRUB. So we are pressing enter to boot into Ubuntu. So as you can see, Ubuntu is booting up. So if we want to know what is happening behind Ubuntu, like happening behind this logo, we can press escape on our keyboard. So this is how like we shoot hacking scenes in movies. Like code will be running and people will be shooting it and showing it on screen. So we have our cursor here. So compared to Windows, we also have another advantage with Linux. I'll show you the advantage now. Like Linux gives you a feature of testing the operating system before you're installing it. Like if you want to test Windows before installing it, means we have to install Windows first, then only we can test it. But when compared to Ubuntu, Ubuntu gives an option for trying it out. So if we change our mind, we can go for another operating system. Means we don't need to install it, right? So we can click on try Ubuntu or install Ubuntu. It's our choice. So first, I'm going to show you how Ubuntu looks like. So so we are going to going to try Ubuntu. So I'm choosing my language as English. So it's the default language. So we're clicking on try Ubuntu. So this is the Linux console again. So it's getting into its desktop. One moment. Yeah. So you might have seen in the screenshot in the PowerPoint presentation. So this is how Linux looks like. So we can try out Linux before installing it. That is the main advantage. If we want to browse internet, we have to browse some files on our hard disk. So this proves that Linux is very open, and so because of this feature, this feature is called Live CD. Live CD is nothing but we have a pen drive, and what we are doing is we are loading that pen drive with Ubuntu installation. So when we put it on our system, so we can try it out like originally. Like we can. This is why most of the recovery persons, for example, we have a system and we have to recover data from it. What the recovery person will do is they will put the hard disk into their system where they will have Linux, and they will just boot up and they will just take the files and give to us. So this is how it works. So as you can see, most of the modern apps like Firefox, Thunderbird, and we have a music player called Virtualbox, and we have an office alternative called LibreOffice. So first we will get into Linux installation, and then we will talk about what are the alternative apps that are available in Linux. If we have a mindset of switching it to Linux. So to install Linux, we have to double click on install Ubuntu. So installation is loading. Yes. So we are greeted with the welcome screen. So first we have to choose our language. It's already chosen, English, and we should click continue. And it's asking for keyboard layout, right? It's the same, like what Windows asks, it's the same here, but English India might not be available here. We have to type a different name. You have to type India here, so we get Indian. So in Indian, we have to choose Indian in English, India with rupee symbol. So with this keyboard, we can insert rupee symbols into Word documents or Excel spreadsheets or even email. So I'm clicking on Indian, and in English is our keyboard layout here. So continue. So for now, we don't need any updates. So we are unchecking updates here. So we will get a normal installation here. This installation would take around 7 minutes. And we'll click on continue. So it's taking some time to read the hard disk. I think we could restart and try again, but it's taking initial time. Just being good.